Hello, my name is Jane Doe. I am a patient and I'm going to walk you through this AIDAVA demonstration. As this is the first time I log in, AIDAVA walks me through the system setup. First, I check my profile and update it. I can also connect to my MeData account created previously. MeData is the health data intermediary that collects my non-hospital data, including GP records, quality of life questionnaires, and results from my blood pressure monitoring device. As this is the first time the account is accessed, I also need to agree to the terms of use. I can specify my medical and digital literacy by answering a set of questions. These literacy levels are important because they influence the type of questions I receive about errors in my data. Instead of sending them directly to the curator, patients with a lower level of health and digital literacy will see simple questions, for instance, date at which procedure took place, whilst more complicated questions, for instance, confirmation of a SNOMED, will go to an expert data curator. I am now ready to start to use the system. First, I see all my data available in AIDAVA that was automatically ingested into the system. Currently, there are only two available. First, the echocardiogram in a DICOM file, and the second one, the blood pressure measurement, which was acquired from the Withings blood pressure monitor device and transferred to AIDAVA by MeData, the health data intermediary. I can visualize the BPM blood pressure data from Withings with details on each measurement. I can also open each one and see the details of that measurement. I can also check where the document came from by reviewing its metadata, which lists the sources and timestamps which are important for data traceability. Also, quite exciting for me, I can have direct access to my medical images. Here is my echocardiogram. Nice, but I guess this will be more useful for my cardiologists. I requested that AIDAVA automatically curate all of my ingested data, and it did. Curation is done automatically and there are no questions for me.
Behind the scenes, both the blood pressure data and the DICOM metadata from the echocardiogram are added to Jane's health record, her personal health knowledge graph or PHKG. By selecting View Details under AI Processing, patients can see how AIDAVA automatically creates data through several steps. The data is ingested, checked for correct formatting, and since this is structured data, mapped to a standardized medical concept. The curation tool called Mutate and Transform to Knowledge Graph converts the data into a knowledge graph. This graph is then merged with the other data via the graph merger, forming the complete PHKG. Finally, the shackle validator checks the merged data for quality, redundancy, and consistency. Since no issues were found, no questions were generated. For the sake of transparency, users can also view details about each curation tool, including its certification level. As this is a research prototype, certification is not yet in place.
Going back into the system a few days later, I realised that a new file related to the laboratory result has been ingested and created. There is one question for me, as AIDAVA has identified issues that require human intervention. The system shows a question for me, and I understand that AIDAVA is using generative AI technology for this, but I want to see the original question from the system. I click on Translate for this, and the generative AI version is easy to understand, and hopefully will become even clearer in the future. The fact that the question is addressed to me is linked to the literacy questionnaire, which I filled out in the beginning, and the system AIDAVA is checking if I am able to answer that. I can also see where the question originates from, as AIDAVA is highlighting the exact cell in the source document where the issue is. Now it's time to respond. The system shows there is a value outside the acceptable range, and I remember the lab results being a bit high, so I confirm that this value is actually correct. Each response needs confirmation, so I select and approve the correct answer. I can now ask AIDAVA to visualize my health summary. It brings everything together in one place. The lab files I just uploaded and my blood pressure history from my Withings monitor. Having this clear dashboard is a game changer for my next doctor's visit. It makes my medical history easy to digest at a glance. And what's truly powerful is that I own this data. I can download it in the standardized IPS format, making it fully EHDS compliant and ready for me to share directly with my GP. The health summary includes a lot of medical terms that I don't fully understand, but AIDAVA is helping me by providing an AI-generated narrative text. I realise this technology is not yet certified, and I need to be careful in using it, but it's great to see its potential. A few days later, another data source has been added, the list of observations, and I noticed several questions. I can see that these have already been assigned to an expert curator, but I can still review them. The questions are about SNOMED codes, so it's best to leave them to the experts. Still, I can explore the option of why did the system ask me this question, and AIDAVA provides an explanation. It's a bit technical for me, but it's a good first step towards transparency. I'll leave this one to the curator.
Hi, I'm the curator. I log into the system to check if there are any questions in the health record of Jane Doe, and indeed there are. The first question is about Hartslag, which means heart rate, and where AIDAVA found multiple possible codes. I select the correct one and confirm. Another question concerns beats per minute, or BPM. The proposed alternatives are less accurate since BPM refers to a unit, so I select the most suitable option and move on to the next question.
Whilst the curator is working, I log back in and see a new file, a full text discharge summary, and AIDAVA has curated it and found 3 questions for me.
If Jane has the right level of digital literacy, she can click on the AI processing. She will see that AIDAVA used the Averbis NLP curation tool to extract information from the text, transform it into a knowledge graph using the onboard NLP to KG tool, merge it with the other data sources using the graph merger, and finally verify the quality of the data with the shackle validator. In case of issues and need for human intervention, the question is translated into human understandable language through the onboarded question rephrase.
The questions I receive are mostly about the timing of a procedure. And when I open one, it's about a lab test for cholesterol, dated January 25th, 2022. The date is clearly stated in the text before, so I confirm my answer.
This example highlights the complexity of automatically extracting accurate and comprehensive information from free text, as AIDAVA should have automatically identified the date. With the advance of new technologies like LLMs, we expect this to be seriously improved in the years to come.
When I open my updated health summary, I can see new information has been added.
As a cardiologist, I want to follow up on my patient's condition. I can easily check Jane Doe's summary, which she has already showed you. AIDAVA also offers a useful feature for researchers and decision makers: traceability. By clicking the question mark in the health summary, I can see the provenance of each piece of data, where it came from, and when it was added. I want to review my patient's SMART score to assess risk. AIDAVA helps by automatically calculating the score from the health record. Normally, I'd have to collect data from various parts of the patient's file by hand and enter it into an external tool, an extremely time-consuming process. With AIDAVA, I simply ask for the score, and within less than 1 minute, it's generated using the latest relevant information. The score isn't great, partly due to the high blood pressure readings. I can check the source of that data. Since it came from Jane Doe's personal blood pressure monitoring device, it might be a good idea for me to double check in case she did not use the device properly. As a researcher, I spend hours on manual data entry for our breast cancer registry. It's tedious, error-prone, and worst of all, creates a data silo that makes pan-European studies nearly impossible. With AIDAVA, that paradigm shifts. Leveraging the personal health knowledge graph, the system identifies eligible patients and automatically extracts the required data elements. For me, this means zero manual entry. But the real breakthrough is interoperability by design. By using a common reference ontology, AIDAVA ensures every hospital generates registry data in the exact same format, building a truly harmonized European network. To prove this, look at these federated queries. I can execute a search across multiple hospital sites that returns anonymized, aggregated results without the patient data ever leaving its source. I can now compare my hospital's metrics against other sites in real time. This seamless access to interoperable, privacy-preserving data across Europe is exactly what the European Health Data Space, the EHDS, aims to achieve for secondary use. AIDAVA proves we can automate and scale this process, enabling a cost-effective implementation of the EHDS across Europe.
Using AIDAVA has really helped me better understand and manage my health data. I can easily access my information, check for errors, and help improve the quality of my records. It gives me confidence that my data is accurate and up to date.
From a clinician's point of view, AIDAVA makes my work easier and more efficient. It gathers data from different sources, maintains full traceability, and supports clinical decision-making with tools such as automated scoring and AI-generated summaries.
I can truly see how AIDAVA helps patients and clinicians work together based on reliable and transparent information.
Exactly. Even though AIDAVA is still a research prototype, it already shows how automation and AI can make healthcare more connected, personalized, and importantly support cost-effective implementation of the EHDS across Europe. Thank you for listening. We hope you have enjoyed this presentation of the AIDAVA prototype.